The actor Heath Ledger was found dead today in an apartment here in New York City. He was just 28 years old.
Heath Ledger wasn't just another actor, he was the embodiment of artistic obsession. While many aspire to greatness, few come close to the transformative brilliance he achieved. But what drove him to push beyond limits? And how did he disappear so completely into every role he took on? The answer lies in his work ethic, his sacrifices, and his fearless commitment to his craft. This is the story of a man who gave everything to create something timeless, and in doing so, he became more than unforgettable. He became a legend.
I don't let it interfere with my training. Danny, it's not the only thing in the world!
Heath Ledger didn't become a star overnight. He worked for it. Back in Australia, he started with small TV roles. Shows like Home and Away gave him his first taste of acting. But Heath wasn't satisfied with that. At just 19, he packed his bags, left Australia, and landed in Hollywood. The guts he must have to dive into the unknown like that. When he got to the US, Heath wasn't chasing fame. He wanted something deeper. He wanted roles that scared him, roles that pushed him. His breakout moment came in 10 Things I Hate About You. It was a teen comedy, and Heath added his own charm, depth, and heart to the movie. Remember the scene where he sings "Can't Take My Eyes Off You"? That was something really amazing. Heath put his whole personality into the role. But Heath wasn't interested in playing the same part over and over. He refused to be typecast. "I'm terrified of repeating myself," he once said. He meant it. He started choosing roles that weren't easy, roles that required him to dig deeper. The best part about him was that he wasn't just building his career. Instead, he was finding his voice. Every role, every choice, every risk shaped him into the actor we know and love today. He ensured he completely indulged himself in the role and performed at his best level.
Art, if you call acting art, which I think is obnoxious, but...
However, Heath Ledger's passion for acting wasn't just about success. It was about growth and taking on challenges. This mindset paved the way for how deeply he prepared for each role. When Heath Ledger took on a role, he became his character, inside and out. Take Brokeback Mountain, for example. Heath played Ennis Del Mar, a man struggling to express his emotions. Ennis didn't have many lines, but Heath didn't need them for sure. He once said, "You have to pretend no one's ever going to see it in order to allow yourself to expose yourself and be vulnerable." That vulnerability was clear in every moment. Heath's body language spoke louder than words. His hunched shoulders, clenched jaw, and broken voice said everything you needed to know. It was obvious that he was living the role. When it came to The Dark Knight, Heath took preparation to a whole new level. He explained, "This shows that he wasn't interested in what was easy or familiar. He wasn't a lifelong Batman fan. He didn't grow up with posters of Gotham on his wall or dreams of playing a comic book villain. But the challenge of the Joker, that's what got him." Heath was drawn to roles that made him step outside his comfort zone. The Joker was a risk. He knew people would compare him to past performances like Jack Nicholson's, and yet he couldn't resist. Why? Because Heath wasn't afraid to do the work. But it also tells us something else. Heath saw the Joker as more than a character. It was a chance to transform, to go beyond what anyone expected. His excitement for the role wasn't about fame or recognition. It was about pushing his craft to the next level. He didn't settle for copying someone else's version of the Joker. Instead, he poured himself into creating something new. But here's the thing, Heath never let the pressure show. On set, while others might stress overtakes, Heath would grin and say, "Let's have some fun with this one." That energy inspired everyone around him. Heath Ledger turned preparation into an art form. Whether he was playing a tortured cowboy or a psychotic clown, he made it feel real. His dedication raised the bar for everyone on set. And when you see his work, you can't help but think, this is what acting is all about.
And so it was such a perfect screenplay. And then Ang Lee came on board, which I thought was the perfect director for it.
But Heath's passion didn't stop there. He brought that same energy to those he worked with, making everyone around him better. Heath Ledger always tried to lift everyone around him. On set, he was a force of nature. Andrew Garfield called him a wild animal. He said, but it wasn't chaos, it was freedom. Heath would walk onto the set, full of energy, and say, "Let's have some fun with this one." That line wasn't just for laughs. It was his way of breaking the tension and encouraging creativity. Heath never followed a strict formula or tried to play it safe, but he embraced the unknown, allowing his performances to feel real, raw, and full of life. That's why all of his co-actors had a huge respect for him. Take The Dark Knight, for example. Maggie Gyllenhaal talked about how Heath managed to be amazing even in the middle of explosions and stunt-filled chaos. She said, "And it's true, Heath's Joker wasn't just a villain, He was the heart of the film. Heath also had this incredible kindness about him. Heath Ledger brought more than his talent to the set. He lifted others, inspired creativity, and created magic in every scene.
We're starting to kind of recycle the subject, and it's getting a little stale, I guess. Certainly in the scripts I'd been reading.
And when it came to risks, he didn't hold back. He embraced the unknown, making bold choices that reshaped his career. Heath Ledger wasn't afraid to shake things up. He chased roles that most actors would steer clear of, roles that pushed boundaries and demanded something new. For Heath, playing it safe wasn't an option. He believed that growth only happens when you take risks, and he made it a habit to jump into the deep end every single time. If we talk about Brokeback Mountain, Heath played Ennis Del Mar, a quiet man battling emotions he couldn't express. It was a role many actors might shy away from, given its complexity and sensitivity. But Heath saw the beauty in the challenge. He didn't just play Ennis, he became him. Heath once said he wanted Ennis's words to feel like they had to fight their way out. It was this kind of dedication that set him apart. Then there was I'm Not There, a film where Heath took on the role of one of the many versions of Bob Dylan. Instead of mimicking Dylan, Heath found his own way to honor the character. He brought a raw, human vulnerability to a version of Dylan struggling with fame and relationships. It was risky because how do you even begin to capture someone like Bob Dylan? But Heath loved the challenge. He found truth in the chaos and turned it into something powerful. Heath's approach to acting was fearless from the beginning. He didn't care about what was comfortable or easy. He looked for roles that made him uncomfortable, ones that demanded more of him. Whether it was a reserved cowboy, a struggling artist, or even small indie projects that caught his eye, Heath poured his soul into everything he did. That mindset was the heart of Heath's risk-taking. He had no lust for awards or box office numbers. He was chasing growth, and every time he took a risk, he left us with something bold, unexpected, and unforgettable.
Taking things a little more seriously.
And how can we not discuss one of his most legendary roles, the Joker from The Dark Knight? This iconic role didn't just happen, it was built with intense preparation, creative madness, and pure dedication. When Heath was asked to take on the role, he didn't need time to think. He met with director Christopher Nolan, and the two instantly shared the same vision. But let's get one thing straight. This wasn't going to be a copy of past Jokers. Heath was about to reinvent the character his way. And how did he do that? By locking himself in a hotel room for 6 weeks. 6 weeks alone, no distractions, just him and the Joker. This was completely insane. While most of us would lose our minds staring at the walls, Heath was creating. He kept a journal filled with twisted thoughts, bizarre jokes, and creepy doodles. He was building the Joker's mind from the ground up, and honestly, it's both brilliant and a little terrifying. Heath described the Joker as, sounds dark, right? But for Heath, that chaos was part of the fun. He loved exploring the Joker's unpredictable, dangerous side. Now, let's get into the details. Heath created everything, including the voice, the laugh, the little tics, and that unsettling lip-licking habit. Not scripted. It came from Heath adjusting his prosthetic scars. Instead of fighting it, he turned it into a signature move that made the Joker even creepier. And the iconic smeared clown makeup? Heath insisted it shouldn't look polished. It had to feel like something the Joker did himself in a dirty mirror. Every choice was deliberate, and every moment felt alive. Heath believed that words could sometimes hold you back. He said, and that's exactly what he brought to the Joker, freedom. Whether it was his physical tics, chilling voice, or unpredictable movements, Heath gave life to a character that could have easily felt over the top. Instead, he made the Joker terrifyingly real. And the result was in front of all. A performance that left the world speechless. Heath's Joker gave a new look to the villain. He became a piece of cinematic history. It's the kind of role that sticks with you long after the credits roll. But Heath Ledger's passion for storytelling didn't stop at acting. He was a creator, a visionary who loved exploring new ways to express himself. You may know him as an actor, but Heath had an eye for directing too. He directed music videos for artists like Ben Harper and Modest Mouse. Heath didn't just want to tell stories on screen, he wanted to shape them from behind the camera. One of his most notable projects was directing the haunting music video for Morning Yearning by Ben Harper. You could see his love for detail and creativity in every frame. Even when he was working on a script, Heath felt the weight of responsibility. Talking about Brokeback Mountain, he said, "That's who Heath was. Someone who cared deeply about the stories he helped bring to life. He had a clear vision, He wanted to create things that mattered, whether he was acting, directing, or producing. It was not about fame or success. He was about pushing boundaries and staying true to his passion. In every role, every project, Heath left a part of himself, and that's why his work ethic continues to inspire both on and off the screen. Heath Ledger's story left the impact of his relentless dedication. Even years after his passing, his work ethic continues to inspire actors, filmmakers, and audiences alike. Heath was more than just a star. He was an artist who gave everything to his craft. His ability to fully immerse himself in roles raised the bar for what audiences expected from acting. Whether it was his chilling portrayal of the Joker or the quiet, aching humanity of Ennis Del Mar, Heath's performances showed that storytelling could go deeper and could feel more alive. His peers often spoke about how working with Heath was unforgettable. That was Heath's magic. He made everyone step up their game. Despite his success, Heath never let up. He worked tirelessly, pouring his heart into every project. His tragic passing cut his career short, but his impact remains timeless. The performances, the risks, the bold choices, all of it left a legacy unmatched in the industry. Heath Ledger was the kind of artist who only comes around once in a generation. He had the vision, the dedication, and the fearless creativity to redefine what it means to be an actor. Love him for his charm or admire him for his craft, Heath's story is one of transformation, risk, and an unrelenting passion for storytelling. His journey, from small TV roles in Australia to becoming a cinematic legend, proves that greatness doesn't come from talent alone, but from the courage to push boundaries and embrace the unknown. Heath Ledger didn't just act, he lived, he created, and he inspired. And even now, he reminds us that true brilliance lies in the risks we take, the stories we tell, and the lives we touch along the way.